The 3 a.m. secret. The church tried to hide. It's 3:07 a.m. Your eyes snap open. The house is dead silent, bathed in that weird blue-gray light you only see in the dead of night. But you're filled with a sense of unease you just can't shake, a primal dread that prickles the back of your neck. A lot of us know this feeling. We call it the witching hour, or more ominously, the devil's hour. It's the time when folklore says the veil between our world and whatever's next is at its thinnest. It's the hour when the paranormal investigators in movies always see their gear go haywire, the moment the creepy doll decides to turn its head. But what if that feeling wasn't a supernatural warning? What if it was something else? A story, a myth, so powerful it's echoed for centuries. What if the fear itself was the real ghost? The story we've all been told about this hour, a tale of demonic mockery and institutional power, is far more shocking than any simple ghost story. Because the theory goes that this panic wasn't an accident. It was shaped by one of the most powerful institutions in history, all to keep control. The modern monster. Today, 3 a.m. is a pop culture staple. It's when the clocks stop in The Conjuring. It's the hour of the horrifying events in Amityville that launched a global phenomenon. This one specific time has become universal shorthand for evil. Horror movies use it as a cheat code to build suspense, tapping into a fear that feels ancient and buried deep in our collective psyche. According to lore, this is when ghosts and demons are at their most powerful. The term witching hour itself is a bit of a ghost. Its exact origins are hard to track down. You won't find it in the Bible. The phrase doesn't really show up in print until around the 18th century, with some roots in Shakespeare describing the night as a time when hell itself breaks out. But branding 3 to 4 a.m. as the demonic window is a much more modern obsession. It's become a myth that feeds itself. We see it in movies, so when we wake up at that time, we feel a jolt of fear. Then, new stories are told about that feeling, which just reinforces the myth. It's a perfect loop of anxiety. But to find the seed of this specific fear, we have to look away from Hollywood and toward a time of profound religious meaning, and a simple, powerful act of flipping a symbol on its head. The sacred echo. To understand a shadow, you first have to understand the light that casts it. In Christian tradition, there's another 3 o'clock that holds immense power, but it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. This is widely known as the hour of divine mercy. According to the Gospels, this was the moment of Jesus' death on the cross, an act of ultimate sacrifice that opened the gates of mercy to the world. In Catholic tradition, especially through the writings of saints like Faustina Kowalska, believers are called to pray at 3 p.m., to ask for mercy for themselves and the world because of that sacrifice. It's seen as a time of incredible grace, a moment when the divine is especially accessible. So you have 3 p.m., a time of holy sacrifice, divine mercy, and salvation, a time representing the triumph of good over evil. Now hold that thought, because every hero needs a villain, and every sacred symbol has its profane echo. And when it comes to symbolism, what's the most direct way to mock something holy? You invert it. You twist it into its exact opposite. The unholy inversion. This is where a compelling theory reframes the 3 a.m. fear entirely. The story goes that 3 a.m. became the devil's hour, precisely because it stands in direct, mocking opposition to the 3 p.m. hour of mercy. It's the unholy echo of a sacred moment. The logic is simple and sinister. If 3 in the afternoon is the hour of Christ's triumph, then 3 in the morning must be the hour of demonic power, a time when evil is at its peak, just to spite the divine. The concept of inversion is a powerful symbolic weapon. The number 3 itself is central to Christianity, representing the Holy Trinity. So a demonic force, acting in mockery, would naturally gravitate to this number. The theory suggests the hour of 3 a.m. was symbolically claimed as a time of unholy power, a perversion of the sacred. Back in the medieval period, the church was the center of everything, and fear was a powerful tool for control. Disobedience wasn't just a crime, it was a sin, often linked to demonic influence. The church was constantly battling what it saw as paganism and heresy, and painting the dark, unsupervised hours of the night as evil was a natural extension of that. Healers using herbs could be accused of getting their knowledge from dark forces. Any activity outside the norm was suspect. It's in this climate that the theory of a manufactured panic takes root. Now, to be clear, you won't find some secret memo from the Vatican declaring, 3 a.m. is the devil's hour, be afraid. But the conditions were perfect for that belief to grow. By encouraging a narrative where the darkest hour was a time of peak demonic activity, a direct mockery of Christ's sacrifice, it kept people in their homes, spiritually anxious, and more reliant on the church for salvation. It was a story that policed behavior without needing guards on every corner. The historical ghost. So, if this was such a powerful psychological tool, where's the proof? Where are the official church documents forbidding things between 3 and 4 a.m.? This is where the story gets even more interesting. The direct, smoking gun evidence of a top-down, planned campaign is basically non-existent in the historical record. While the church was certainly suspicious of things that went on in the dead of night, especially during the height of the witch hunts, there's no official universal decree that's ever been found that singles out the 3 a.m. hour. But the lack of a formal decree doesn't mean the fear wasn't real, or that it wasn't useful. The power of this idea likely didn't come from a proclamation, but from its slow drip into folklore, sermons, and local superstition, probably encouraged by local clergy. It's a ghost in history you can't prove it was deliberately created, but you can't deny its effects. The belief in a witching hour became a powerful tool of social control, especially for women, who were the main targets of witchcraft accusations and were discouraged from being out at night. So the secret the church hid likely wasn't a document, but the way the story itself worked, allowing a powerful, terrifying myth to do the work of controlling people, a myth that would later be supercharged by horror writers and filmmakers into the phenomenon we know today. The body's clock. After all the folklore and symbolic weight we've put on this hour, modern science offers a much simpler and maybe more comforting explanation for why we're so often staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. It turns out our bodies have their own kind of witching hour, and it has nothing to do with demons. Your body runs on a 24-hour internal clock called the circadian rhythm, which manages your sleep-wake cycle. In the early morning, usually between 2 and 4 a.m., your body is in a strange transitional state. Your core temperature is at its lowest point, and the sleep hormone, melatonin, has peaked. At the exact same time, levels of the stress hormone, cortisol, naturally start to rise to prepare you to wake up. Around this time, you're also often in your lightest stage of sleep, REM sleep. It's the perfect recipe for a jarring wake-up. You're in a light sleep just as your body is starting to shift into wake-up mode. Any tiny disturbance, a weird noise, a change in temperature, or even a stressful thought can easily knock you awake. And because your body is in this weird state, you often wake up feeling confused, anxious, with your heart pounding, which our brains, soaked in centuries of folklore, can easily mistake for supernatural dread. So that feeling of unease, it might not be a demon, but a surge of cortisol. That sense of a presence in the room? It could be a touch of sleep paralysis or a vivid dream spilling over from REM sleep. Science doesn't disprove the spiritual, but it does give a powerful, evidence-based reason for the physical experience. The story of 3 a.m. is a wild mix of faith, fear, folklore, and our own biology. It's a powerful reminder of how stories can shape the way we see the world. But I want to know what you think. Have you had strange experiences waking up at 3 a.m.? Do you think it's a time of spiritual importance, or is it all just your body clock? Let me know your stories and theories in the comments. And if you enjoy unraveling mysteries like this one, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the secrets of our past. Conclusion. So, what is the great secret of 3 a.m.? The secret isn't some lost church law or a conspiracy documented in a vault. The real secret is that the fear of this hour is a brilliant construction, built on a foundation of real religious symbolism, strengthened by the anxieties of the past, and cemented in place by our own modern culture and biology. It's a story about the twisting of a holy moment, whether by evil forces or by human institutions hungry for power. But it's also a story about our own bodies, which run on ancient rhythms that make us feel vulnerable in the middle of the night. Maybe the best act of rebellion against this old fear is to reframe it. Instead of a time of evil, maybe 3 a.m. is just a time of quiet, a moment of profound stillness. For those who are spiritual, maybe it's not a time to fear the devil, but a chance for prayer and reflection when the rest of the world is finally silent. So the next time your eyes snap open and the clock says 3:07 a.m., you have a choice. You can listen for the whispers of ghosts that folklore tells you are there, or you can listen to the quiet rhythm of your own body and the long, strange, and complicated human story that gave this silent hour such a loud reputation.